from New Jersey.
Northern.
Northern New Jersey. So just thanks for coming, guys. This is Paul's most significant birthday. Yes. His big 70.
So far.
So hopefully there'll be many more. I hope everybody's having a good time. We're eating and drinking. And no tears, please, just because he's 70. You know, he's going to be around a long time.
I got a good year left.
Okay, before we go to the buffet, I want to say a few words about Paul.
Cover your ears, kids.
That's bad. No, it's bad. As his wife of 12 years, his third wife at that, I have quite a bit to say. Paul turned 70 years old. Now he has joined the lucky people who have lived to be this age, and I am so very happy to be his wife. Do you realize how significant that is? I didn't, so I did some research using the UN population demographics. Only about 9% of the entire population of the U.S. ever reaches 70, and even less, 6% of the world's population ever get to be as old as Paul, and this group is comprised mostly of women.
Oh.
I can pass. You fit right in.
If you take a look at just men, 70 and over, only 2.7% of the world's 7 billion people are as old as Paul.
Wow.
So yes, he is old. And he is special. Not like the short bus special. But as those of you who know Paul for a long time, he is special in a loving, caring, sensitive way.
Yes.
He has his moments. As I was discussing with a friend what to say to honor Paul tonight, I realized that many of you may not know the story of Paul. So I decided what better way to honor Paul and show my love than to celebrate his life story and share it with you. So this is the story of Paul, the whole story of Paul. Well, maybe not the whole story, but a few highlights of his 70 years. Paul was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1942. He has the distinction of having lived in all 5 boroughs of New York City.
Wow.
Actually, I understand his family had to move because Paul kept pressuring his parents to cut their rent expenses down. Even at this early age, the basic essence of Paul was forming. His father was a Lithuanian fireman, immediately and urgently responding to the fire alarms all over New York City and saving lives. Paul often rode with his father when he was young, and I think this explains Paul's extreme patience with other drivers. And his highway tailgating. He pictures himself driving a fire truck.
Looking at it.
Paul made it all the way through high school and college and was quite popular with the girls. He dated quite a few in high school and between marriages. All 3 of them. Over the past years, Paul finally tuned his female selection skills. I mean, he picked me out of personal ads. Paul is an intellectual, as many of you know, and quite educated. He has a bachelor's and master's degree. Since Paul likes small things, small tips, small presents, and small glasses of wine. He decided to study atoms and nuclear particles at Maritime College and graduated in 1963 with honors. Almost halfway. After graduation, desperate to make his mark in society, Paul accepted the first job offer he got to work as a at a nuclear rocket facility. This is where Paul developed and that glow that we all love.
Is that the anal glow?
That too. Just as quickly as he did with his job and wanting to have his little Paulies, he got married right out of college and had 2 children. His son Matthew and his wife Yvette are here tonight and flew in all the way from Honolulu to be here with Dad. Matt, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming such a long way and for also bringing Paul's grandson Jaden, who goes to college in Colorado. Thank you, guys. plan. You didn't have to pay for anything.
But I know I will.
And that is the truth. Paul lived and worked in a number of nuclear facilities in California, like San Onofre and San Luis Obispo. In fact, that's one of the pictures on the cake. That's me. And he was a nuclear plant inspector for the U.S. government before returning to the East Coast in 1994. Very impressive, sweetie. While in California, Paul had the distinction of being one of the engineers who worked on the USS Guitarra, a nuclear-powered attack submarine for the U.S. Navy. But the ship sunk at approximately 8:30 p.m. Thursday, May 15, 1969, while tied up on the dock at Mare Island Naval Shipyard while it was still under construction.
But I was in charge.
Sandy, you have to blame the naval architect on that one, not the nuclear engineer.
That was the case too.
Paul hit the scuttle valves.
Yeah.
The official documented findings of the congressional investigation of the sinking found that culpable negligence of certain shipyard employees was the cause.
Not me.
Paul
write this
swears
book?
he had nothing to do with the sinking. But given his typical frustrations, we will never know for sure. I do know that every year on May 15th, he privately thanks God for something. I met Paul in 1996 from a personal ad in the Gazette. He took me to a Vietnamese pho restaurant for our first date. Later, he told me that he didn't want to make any significant investments in me till he knew I would be the one. So
Wise
Paul.
man.
And I still married him. He is certainly paying for that now, let me tell you. He actually picked me up in his 1984 rusted, falling apart Toyota truck and said I was a queen and this was my carriage. Nice line, sweetie. Doesn't he have a great sense of humor? In 1998, Paul moved in with me. I actually think he just needed internet connectivity, so I gave him a deadline and an ultimatum. At exactly 11:59 p.m. on the day of my deadline, with Paul sound asleep and having heard nothing, I woke him up out of his snoring stupor and told him that the time had come for his decision. He could either marry me or finish sleeping in the Quality Inn tonight.
No pressure there.
The rest is history. Paul saved $99 that night, and we were married in 1999. Some of you guys were there. Paul must have had a plan and a schedule when he left California, because it only took him 2 years to find me and 4 years to get remarried. Paul is a very organized person and likes things to be in the right place in the right manner, always. He even has our spices alphabetized. Don't try to rearrange them. Jennifer tried it. That didn't go over really well.
We remember that. We remember that well. She did. It didn't go over well.
Paul retired in 2004 and begged me to retire also from IBM so we could travel the world and be together. I retired in 2005 and we have spent almost every day together.
That's sweet.
Sometimes. Oh God, when you're 60, you need glasses. He has taken me to Spain on many cruises, all across the United States and Canada in our fifth wheel trailer, and we're going to Italy later this year.
All right.
Paul is just the perfect companion for me. I love his sense of humor, his generosity with my home projects, his loyalty, his willingness to complain about the people at Costco, and his punctuality. Paul has had many causes for happiness in his life. His current wife, his children, his professional successes, his Apple TV, and many others. He is happiest when he is grilling on the Barbie or finds a great bargain. Tonight I want him to have the happiest birthday ever. I have known my husband since he was 54 years old, and in closing, I want to thank him for some of the most wonderful and happy years of my life. I also want to thank him for being so very patient through all of our house renovations, and I especially want to thank him for always being so kind, patient, and considerate towards everybody. That wasn't a joke, honey.
Sounds a little twisted.
Okay, let's raise our glasses and just do a short toast to Paul. And say happy birthday.
Happy birthday! Sandy, get together, come on.
I don't wanna have a big retort.
Sit on his knee.
Thank you, Tom, that was really, really, really sweet. Most of it anyway. You totally didn't do it. I'm just very proud of what you did. I mean, I didn't expect to see my ex-wives and girlfriends.
I'm bored. Every one of them.
Yeah, there'll be a little vote taken later.
Oh, I could go with one night.
But anyway, I'm just gonna cut it short. Thank you, dear, I love you, and this is really sweet, I didn't expect it at all. Kiss, kiss.
Yes, it is.
Can we start serving? Oh, it was beautiful.
Beautiful.